Hi guys and welcome back. Everything's sorted out and the lesson is on track. Peter, I actually have a question on the page for you. So we might as well. Hey, what do you think?
Okay.
Be kind. Okay, from Takalani. Takalani says, so Peter, what if they didn't tell us to change to meters or centimeters? How do I know that I must change it to meters?
Okay, Takalani, that's a good question. This was kind of a horrible question I gave you. I think the one thing you've got to look at is normally we would give you a length in meters, a breadth in centimeters, and another one, let's say in millimeters, and then you would be expected to change it. I think if I was setting your exam at the end of the year, for this kind of thing, I wouldn't be so mean. I wouldn't give you a horrible question like that, mainly because this is a maths lit question and it's not a science question. If it was a physics question, then you'd be expected to know that. And there's no way we can expect people who don't do physics to understand that, okay? So please don't get too worried about that. But to answer your question anyhow, what you would do is if you saw you've got, like, for example, grams per, basically means I've got grams per means divided by centimeters cubed, okay? Times and meters cubed. All right? Now, there's no way I can cancel my centimeters cubed with my meters cubed. But if I change both of them to centimeters cubed and centimeters cubed, then my final answer will be as a mass. It would be grams. Okay? That's the horrible mathematics behind it. But like I said to you, being math lit, the question is on the mathematics, not so much the physics part of it. So in a final exam, I would probably have told you that remember to change that to centimeters cubed, or I would have asked you to calculate the volume of the soil in centimeters cubed in the first place. All right? So don't panic too much about that one. It is a horrible question. It was out there to catch my students but remember, they were doing it as a portfolio piece. So they could use a few books to answer their question. They could use resources. They could use a lot more time than what would be required in a test. So I did make that part of the question a little bit ugly. All right, but let's move on.
So mean.
I am mean, it's true. My students would agree with you. All right, now, times. Let's move on. Now, my calculator, it's working. We found out what the problem was. The problem was, when you use this calculator, you can't use the pen. You've got to use your finger. Okay, and but Indiana told me to use the pen, and that's why it went wrong.
Sabotage.
Right. Okay, so here we go. So remember, we are now saying 375 multiplied by 100 because we're changing the centimeters, the meters to centimeters. But because it's cubed, we're going to do it 3 times. Times 100 times 100 again equals, and there's my answer. Yeah, all those noughts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, got 6 noughts. So I'm going to land up here then with 375 million, because we've got 6 noughts, what? Centimeters cubed, okay? That's how many little centimeter cubes. So if I made a little box, 1 centimeter high, 1 centimeter long, 1 centimeter wide, I would need 375 million of them to get all the soil out the hole. That's a lot of little cubes. All right. Now, let's multiply. So we got 1,6 multiplied by that answer. So all I'm going to do is I've got my answer. I'm going to say times 1.6 equals, and there it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So 600 million what? Grams. 600 million grams. But we're not finished with that question. Why are we not finished with the question? Guys, let's read the question. It says, what is the mass? But we found the mass. So what's the problem? Of the soil in kilograms. Okay. So we've got 600 million grams. And we now got to change it to kilograms. Guys, how many grams in a kilogram? There are, Indiana, do you remember from your school days?
Sure, 100?
Absolutely wrong. There are 1,000. Okay, so we got 1,000 grams, so we're going to divide this by 1,000. And when we divide it by 1,000, our answer is 600 6,000 kilograms of soil. That's a huge mass.
That's
eh?
a lot of soil.
That's a lot of soil. I mean, that's quite a lot of me.
Yeah.
to
How many
carry.
of yous is there? Maybe we should add that as a question.
Should
How
we do
many is
that
of
as a
Peter's?
challenge question? How many of me is 600,000 kilograms?
But now it's
Sure.
this estimation now. Hey,
No,
we're going to
let's
have to
not go
find
there.
out how
Let's
much
not
you
go
weigh
there. It's
first.
going to get embarrassing. Let's go on to the next question instead. Right, next question.
You're a
Yes.
scaredy cat.
I am. It's absolutely true. Now, how long will it take our 2 workers to dig out the soil and get rid of it? Right, so now remember, oh, look how this information's just come up on the board here. It's
That
magic,
was
okay?
fancy.
A worker can fill and move 12 wheelbarrows per hour. So how long will it take our 2 workers to dig out the soil and get rid of it?
Shem, I feel sorry for these 2 guys.
Okay. How many wheelbarrows did we need? Do you remember that?
Hold on, let me check my
I think
notes
you've got
here.
it back
I
there.
think how many wheelbarrows did we need?
469.
68. No, 469. You're
That's
right.
right.
You're
I
right.
am right.
You
Thank
you
you.
are
I am
right.
absolutely-
I had
and I did
another
that all by
amount.
myself.
Yeah, you did. Well done.
469 wheelbarrows are required. Now, 2 workers are going to work on it, and we're told that a worker can fill and move 12 wheelbarrows per hour. So how many wheelbarrows can we move in 1 hour? Well, we know that a worker can move 12 wheelbarrows, okay, for every hour. But if we've got 2 workers, folk, how many wheelbarrows are we moving in an hour then? Well, one is moving 12, another one is moving 12. So we're actually moving 24 wheelbarrows every single hour. Okay, so how are we going to calculate this? Well, we're going to say if we got 469 wheelbarrows, let's divide this by 24 wheelbarrows. And that'll tell us how many hours we actually need to move all the soil. Okay, I think it's going to take quite a few hours. What do you think,
I think
Indiana?
it's going to take very long.
Okay, let's go for it. So on our calculator, we are going to say, right, we've got 469 wheelbarrows. We're dividing it by 24, because 24 going every hour. And voila, there we have 19.54 hours. Okay. Now, Indiana, I want to ask you something, because
I know exactly what you're going to ask.
Oh, you're gonna
I
ask.
think I'm ready.
Okay.
Carry on.
So it's 19 hours and how many minutes?
Sure. Oh my gosh. 54?
54. Absolutely wrong. And so many matrix make that mistake. They say 19,54 hours means 19 minutes and 19 hours and 54 minutes. Guys, it doesn't mean that at all. Why not? Because how many minutes are in an hour? There are 60 minutes in an hour. So this 54 is 54 over 100. But we've got to convert it to over 60 because there's 60 minutes. So please don't fall for that, okay? Just do not fall for that. What we're actually saying is 0.54 times 60. And that will tell us how many minutes. So how many hours and how many minutes. But guys, the question wasn't how many minutes. We're not even getting that complicated. We want to know how many hours in total are going to be worked to move that soil. And if it's 19,5, and you're paying your worker by the hour, he's got to work into that 20th hour. So he's worked a full 19 hours, but there's still some soil left. He's still got to move a little bit more. And he's not working for the full hour. He's only working 0.54 of an hour, okay? So he's not working the full hour, but you still got to pay him for that. So how many hours? 19,54 means 20 hours. So he's going to work, or both workers are going to work 20 hours. Right. Next question. This is quite a nice exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Except my thing is that shame you can never make somebody work 20 hours a day. So
but we
obviously,
didn't say
you know,
that. No,
8
no,
hours
no,
a day.
we
So
didn't-
2 days.
We didn't say. We didn't
He's
say
trying
he's
so
gonna
hard,
work.
guys. He's trying so hard.
We didn't say the guy's going to start working and we're going to say, you keep working until this job is done, okay? It's not my wife, right? It's a normal, loving human being who says, please do the job You can only work 8 hours a day, so off you go. But how many hours in total is it going to take? He doesn't have to start the job and end the job, and he's not allowed to have a break.
Okay, good. Because
Okay?
I just worry about people, but that's
Yeah.
cool.
All right. If it was my wife and she was talking to me, she'd say, you start, and don't you dare stop until it's finished, boy. All right. But we're not like that. Right, let's move on. By the way, my wife's a wonderful person, I must
No,
tell you.
she's
She
lovely, and
really
I've
is.
met
And
her
I'm just
too. I've met
pretending,
her
and that's
too.
why they say you only tease those you love. That's why I don't tease you at all. All right, let's move on. Okay, next one. How much will it cost to get rid of the soil? Remember to include the wages of the workers and the skip hire. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to try and find out all the information we possibly can, and let's have a look at this. So a skip can hold 9.2 meter cubed of soil, and they cost 1,750 per day to hire. Okay. There are 2 workers who each work for 6 hours per day at a cost of 200 Rand per day each. Right. Now, let's look at this part first, because we've just been talking about our workers. Right. And we said our workers, we need them to work for a total of 20 hours each in order to move all that soil. So they work 200 Rand per day each, but they can only work for 6 hours a day. So how many days are these guys actually going to work for? Well, let's have a look at it. Day 1, 6 hours. Day 2, 6 hours. So far, what have we got? We got a total of 12 hours, right? Do we need to still work? Yeah, we do, because we've got to get to 20. So day 3, another 6 hours. That now gives me a total of 18 hours. Do we still have to work? Yes, we do have to work, because we've only done 18 hours of work and we need 20 hours to get all that soil. So we've got to put in another 2 hours. Right? And that's going to give me my 20 hours. But I've said to my workers, listen guys, we are paying you 200 Rand a day. Okay? So they've worked for a full day, that's 200 Rand. They've worked for another day, that's 200 Rand. They've worked 6 hours on the third day, that's 200 Rand. Day 4, they have only worked 2 hours. They have not worked a full day. But, these guys have still had to come to work, and they've had to work for some of that day. And the question did not say that if they're going to be paid per hour. If the question said they were being paid per hour, then we could say, hey guys, day 4 you only work 2 hours, so we're only going to pay you for those 2 hours. But this question doesn't say it, does it? It says they're paid for a day's work. So even though they've worked 2 hours, they're going to be paid the 200 Rand. Okay? And one would presume that they're not just going to fill up the wheelbarrows and when they finish say, cool, my work's done, and off they go. They're going to have to take the wheelbarrows, they're going to have to clean them, they're going to have to clean the spades. It's not going to quite be 2 hours, but we're paying them for the day. So how many days have they worked? We're going to say in total, these guys have worked 4 days. And 4 times 200 is going to be a total of 800 Rand for the day's work. Or for all their work in carrying that soil on the wheelbarrow. Okay, happy?
Very happy.
Let's move on. And you, of course, in the end, are taking all these down, so when we refer back to them...
Some of them, Peter. Some of them. You need to indicate which ones.
Right, so next one. Once the hole has been dug... Let's just do this quickly. Okay, so now, once the hole has been dug, we need to line that pool with concrete to make it watertight. What surface area do we have to cover? All right, now, folk, what we're going to do is this. We know the dimensions of the pool. Our pool is 25 meters long, 10 meters wide, and 1.5 meters deep on average. We are trying to find the surface area of that whole pool. How much area needs to be covered? Okay, let's read the question again.
I want to ask a Peter about the skip. A question about the skip. What was my question again? It said to include the skip costs.
Oh, in the previous question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I got so
Yeah.
excited about this, I forgot about the other part of it.
Yes, Peter.
So how much will it, remember to include the wages of the workers and the skip hire? Ah, okay. And remember, if we remember correctly as well, we said that the skip hire was 1,000, I've got it here somewhere. Thank you for
didn't.
that. Thank you for that.
It's a
Okay.
pleasure. It's a pleasure,
So we
Peter.
told a skip can hold 9,2 meter cubed of soil, okay? And they cost 1,750 Rand per day to hire. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about this thing because we know that every day these guys are only carrying 6 wheelbarrows, or rather working for 6 hours. So how many days have they worked for? We said 4 days.
Yeah.
Okay. But what we need to know is how many skips did we need to fill up, to put the soil in? Right. So how many skips were needed in order to put all that soil in? Okay. Can you remember this for me? 9,2?
Got it?
Got it? Okay, cool. Now, let's go back here. So what we're now saying is this, that if I have 9,2, what was it? 9,2 meters cubed.
Meters cubed, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And we had a total of how much soil? 375 meters
Meters
cubed of
cubed.
soil. Okay. How many skips does that mean I need? So we're going to say, well, 375 divided by 9.2 means I need 40,7 skips. In other words, 41 skips. So we need 41 skips was required. Oh my goodness, writing just appeared here. Okay, so we needed 41 skips. And if each skip cost us 1,750 Rand to hire,
That was brilliant. Correct.
okay, then we've got to multiply that. Do you agree with me?
I agree.
Okay, so we now say 1,750 times the 41. Du-du-du-dum. If we can get our calculator, here we go. Right, so we've got 41 times, what did we say? 1,750. So the skip's costing us 71,750 Rand.
Sure.
For them to get the soil and take it away. Sure, that's a lot of money. Hey?
That is a lot of money.
A lot of money. All right. And then we'll add it to the wages. Got
Awesome.
that? And remember, each guy gets 800 Rand. So it's the 71,750 for the skip, plus the 800 for the one chap to work, plus 800 for the other chap to work, and that will then give us our final total.
Okay, so that's not the final total now.
No, because it's 7150 plus the 800 Rand for the first guy, plus the 800 Rand for the second guy.
Equals
Equals 73,350 Rand.
the price of a really nice second-hand car.
Basically.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Okay, Peter, how's about a break?
Is it a time? Let's take a break.
Let's do it. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll see you now.